Hi, my name is Sally Fowler. I'm the owner and trainer for Disabled Advantage Dog Training and Consulting. When we're talking about your dog settling in their crate, this goes for pet dogs and service dogs. It means that we want them to go in their crate and lay down. Ideally, they'd go in their crate, lay down, and go to sleep, or at least have soft features. They might be looking around, watching things going on in the room, or listening to things in the house, but they're not just like constantly twitching at every noise. They're also not pacing. When they're in their crate, they might get up and stretch and move around, but then they lay down fairly quickly again. That's what we mean by settled. Now, service dogs, once they're fully trained, and sometimes as they're training and they are developing their skills, they're learning that you're different. Service dogs have a setting, for lack of a better word, where they will refuse to relax all the way if they think you should stop doing what you're doing and rest. And this is not something that I have specifically trained. It is something both of my dogs have learned just by being around me and watching me. And I know it's what they're doing by very specific photos that I'm going to show you here. In this photo, Robbie is watching me carry wood, and you can see he's alert and he's watching me, but his facial features are overall soft. Same here with him on the porch. This is Austin on the floor watching me intently. I was cooking and he watched me intently. As soon as I sat down and rested for a bit, though, he immediately passed out and fell asleep. As opposed to in this photo, Robbie's very, very alert and fixated on something. I'm behind him. Here he's stress panting, his ears are back, his eyes are worried. Here his ears are back, his mouth is closed, he's looking up at something concerned like. In this photo, the whole dog's body is very stiff, very, very fixated. Those ears are just stiff. That's a bad kind of attention. Here the ears are back, the dog is stress panting, the dog's leaning back a little bit. And here Robbie is looking at me, but the way he's looking at me, his ears are off to the side and he's kind of got this whole facial expression of, please let me leave. This is an anticipatory face. This is a pleading face of, I'm bored, I'm tired, I'm done with this exercise, I want to leave. And it's very, very different from the previous photos of soft facial features, but yet very intent, kind of like sentry duty. So soldiers who are on sentry duty, they're calm, they give an outward appearance of calm, but they also look ready. And that's kind of the service dog. They're halfway settled, but they suspect that, something's not quite right with you. And so they don't feel like they can necessarily settle down all the way until you stop and rest. And this does present sort of a weird problem with kennel training because we need our dogs to go in their crate and calm down, period. But it starts to get kind of weird for service dog teams. You have to decide how you want to handle this based on your individual team. And that's something we are going to talk about in your session. The way I handle it is, look, buddy, if I'm putting you in your crate, you need to trust that I'm going to be okay. And so when I put them in their crate, I want them to go in there and relax. And sometimes I have to do it to force them to relax, to force them to take a break, because they are so good about doing their jobs that sometimes they feel like they can't relax because they have to always be ready to help me. So putting them in their crate is a way to help them turn off and help them say, it's okay, take a break, I'll be okay. And so in that instance, we do want to make sure that we spend enough time teaching our dogs that if you're in your kennel, you don't need to worry about me. This is your space to just take a deep sleep if you need it. Additionally, the Robbie would only do it when he saw me doing weird things. So things that were out of normal character for me. Things like shoveling snow or cleaning the rabbit hutch or carrying firewood in my arms. Austin seems to do it a lot more frequently than Robbie did. I think Austin's way more in tune with my pain levels than Robbie was. And so Austin has a really hard time, especially in public, settling down. And that's partly because he wants to be ready to do tasks for me. And it's partly because Austin loves chaos. And so we have a problem that Austin's getting better at, but we have a problem with Austin taking naps in public. He won't take naps. He just stays awake the whole day. And so then he comes home and he crashes into a deep sleep. So when we're at home, when I put my dog in place, when I put my dog in kennel, I really do mean for them to, hey, please take a nap, settle down. I'm going to be fine. But if you need your dog to alert you to a medical problem, you're going to have to learn how to read your dog. I can feel my dog staring at me. And I check in, and sure enough, he's staring at me, and I play the situation by ear. At least in the beginning, when your dog is in these early phases of training, I do recommend that you try your hardest to let your kennel be, please go in here and do some self-care, dog, and take a nap. I'll be okay. And then once they're fully trained, and or once you start doing formal alert training, then you can revisit how you want to handle this. If you want your dog to be able to communicate with you while they're in their kennel. But that might be something as simple as if you feel your dog staring at you from the kennel and you can tell which type of stare it is, then you check in and you take care of yourself and see if they then settle down. But we don't, even if it is a service dog, we don't want to encourage them to be frantic about needing to get to us to help us. Because there will be times when our dog is separated from us and they need to have the skill to be able to be calm and accept that whatever's going on with us in that moment is what's going on with us in that moment. An example of that is when I was in the hospital getting MRIs done of my jaw, my dog Robbie was asleep at my husband's feet, and then all of a sudden he perked up and went in like sentry duty mode and was pivoting his head around and looking, and he didn't make any noise. He didn't break command, but he did wake up and was very attentive. And my husband said, like, maybe a minute later, a nurse came back and said, hey, can you please come back? Your wife is in distress and we need you to come help her. So that's the kind of response that you want if you are in distress. If you're in public, your dog stays calm, they keep their stuff together, but maybe they do go into a little bit more of a heightened sentry status of, I need to be ready, but not, I'm going to go ballistic. I feel like it's important for you guys to start to learn the body language of reading your service dog, because it is going to be very, very important moving forward through your dog's training. And it's where people might have a lot of questions. Well, should I let my dog settle down all the way on place or on kennel if it's their job to be ready? Yes, it's their job to be ready, but it's not their job to be throwing a temper tantrum because they aren't right beside you. Their job is to be aware and to be ready, but ready doesn't have to look like they're sitting on the edge, leaning forward, ready to launch themselves into their job. Ready can be as simple as, I'm going to raise my head up and I'm just going to watch you for a little bit with very soft facial features. In summary, yes, service dogs in training should absolutely do kennel and place impulse control training and learn how to be in their crate with the door open or closed, and stay in there, be calm, no whining, no barking, no pacing, no nonsense. But with the caveat of, as you work with your dog more and more, you need to understand that sometimes there will be a difference between being totally passed out chill and being in sentry alert mode chill. And they are both a form of settling, but they look slightly different. Some service dogs do them and some service dogs don't do it. So it's going to depend on each individual team as well. I hope these photos and my commentary has helped answer this question for you. But if it hasn't, or if you need one-on-one assistance, training your service dog, or specifically working on finding the right balance between work mode and off-duty mode and calming down when you send them to areas like place or their crate, please go to my website and set up a coaching session with me or a training consult with me, and we will see what we can do to help you resolve your problem and answer your questions. Thank you for listening.